You were never imagining it. The truth has finally erupted. For so long, you walked through a fog of confusion, sensing forces at work behind the scenes. Covert sabotage, strange encounters, people turning cold for no reason. Now, the veil has been lifted. Federal investigators have uncovered a sprawling and methodically constructed network designed to psychologically destabilize individuals like you. What was once considered paranoia has now been confirmed by cold, hard evidence. The architects of this covert campaign, once shadows in the background, now have names, faces, and paper trails that link them to every step of your torment. Encrypted messages, surveillance notes, financial records. All of it points to a highly organized syndicate selling what can only be described as psychological warfare packages, customized blueprints for isolating and discrediting their chosen targets. And you were one of them. Each gut feeling you had, each subtle sign you noticed but couldn't quite prove. It's all been validated. These weren't coincidences. This wasn't a string of bad luck. This was engineered chaos. And at the core of this sophisticated machinery sat a leadership duo. One, the financial strategist and recruiter, calculating, ruthless. The other, the operations tactician, responsible for training and deploying operatives into your world with quiet precision. Their empire fed on secrecy and misdirection, structured through layers of insulation. Most participants never knew the full scope. Paid actors in a script they barely understood, following orders passed down through anonymous channels. But now, everything's been laid bare. Investigators have secured thousands of communications, meticulous instructions to destroy reputations, to destabilize minds, to cut the target off from every lifeline of support. Make them question reality. Ensure no one believes them. Rewrite the narrative of their life, one lie at a time. These weren't just ideas. They were orders. The recruitment methods were disturbingly precise. Operatives were often drawn from struggling communities, those in debt, isolated, or susceptible to influence. They were gradually brought into the fold, starting with minor tasks that escalated into full psychological operations. Over time, they were weaponized against you. Ordinary people turned into agents of destabilization. Training manuals revealed in the investigation show how they were instructed to gaslight, to manipulate your relationships, and to orchestrate chance encounters engineered to rattle you. What seemed random was always deliberate. Behind every awkward meeting, every unfriendly stare, was intent. At the top of this sinister structure stood the clients. Powerful individuals who paid handsomely to have people like you silenced, discredited, or broken. Contracts were found specifying the exact methods to be used, the intensity of campaigns, and the personal traits of targets. Your resilience, social influence, and public image all priced accordingly. There were premium rates for total character assassination, destroying your credibility both publicly and privately. This wasn't harassment. It was calculated, premeditated psychological warfare. The kind that ruins reputations, breaks families, and leaves lives in ruins. And yet, the system they built is now crumbling under its own weight. Greed and infighting have fractured their command structure. Disputes over unpaid compensation led to whistleblowers coming forward. Former insiders, feeling used and discarded, have provided sworn statements and data that expose the full scope of the operation. The fallout has been swift and devastating. Federal agencies have seized assets, shut down accounts, and arrested key figures. And what began as an investigation into your case has become the spark for a national reckoning. More victims are being identified. Similar networks are being traced and dismantled. The financial infrastructure, once hidden beneath layers of fake companies and shell transactions, is being unspooled by forensic accountants, revealing a grotesque economy based on pain. Every payment logged, Every transfer made, every expense filed, it all connects individuals to actions taken against you. The web is wide, but the pattern is undeniable. What you're witnessing is not just vindication. It's the beginning of justice, the beginning of healing, the start of dismantling a machine designed to consume lives in silence. You survived it, and now the truth is echoing across the very systems that once ignored your pleas. The silence has been broken, and your story has become the turning point. They calculated everything. Lost careers, fractured families, public shaming. Even your health was weaponized. And behind it all, there were price tags, bonuses distributed when your life veered into chaos. The more pain inflicted, the higher the payout. This wasn't just cruelty. It was commerce and suffering. Encrypted channels, protected by military-grade protocols, masked the mastermind's every move. These weren't amateurs. These were tacticians with backgrounds resembling intelligence operations, people trained to dismantle a human being from the inside out. Their operational methods mirrored those used in black ops warfare: long-term psychological dismantling, layered deception, and relentless data collection. They operated in time cycles, not minutes, not days, but months and years. Each event carefully positioned, each disruption precisely scheduled. The goal? To leave you questioning your mind, your reality, your own worth. Every coincidence was planned. Every odd encounter, orchestrated. Further evidence now confirms you were never chosen randomly. Targets often had one thing in common. They were disruptors, truth-tellers, whistleblowers, inventors, survivors, people who carried light in spaces designed to stay dark. People like you. Internal messages show clients specifying why they wanted someone removed from the board, because they knew something, said something, or simply existed in defiance of a power that wanted silence. That's when the machine activated. And when signs of collapse appeared, emotional breakdowns, suicidal thoughts, complete isolation, the organization didn't halt. They celebrated. They documented your pain as milestones, shared across internal channels as proof of progress. Target is destabilized. Mission achieved. That was your suffering, measured, recorded, and rewarded. But it wasn't just mental and emotional warfare. It was technological invasion. Your phones, compromised. Your Wi-Fi, monitored. Private conversations intercepted. Images manipulated. Audio distorted. What you thought were safe moments were turned into weapons against you. Your deepest vulnerabilities weren't guessed. They were studied. Every trauma, every insecurity, every medical history. Nothing was off limits. You were turned into a case file. A living dossier, hundreds of pages long, updated in real time, and passed between operatives like a battlefield playbook. And still, you survived. Let's be clear, this system wasn't just about harassment. It was a business model. Boardrooms, projected metrics, quarterly targets. They turned destruction into an enterprise, with you as the center of their product line. The most damning piece? The client registry, a list that, if released, would shock the world. Public figures, respected professionals, advocates for justice, all secretly underwriting campaigns of engineered psychological destruction. Their public personas are built on lies, while in private, they pay to ruin lives like yours. And although federal authorities now hold the keys to this empire's secrets, danger still lurks. Those exposed will do anything to avoid the light. Investigations can be halted. Testimony can be buried. Whistleblowers can be silenced. You, more than anyone, know that these people don't fight fair. That's why you must stay vigilant. Document everything. Back it up in places no one can reach. Build alliances with those who've also walked this path. But move with caution, because infiltration is their oldest trick. Among the newly recovered data is confirmation of one of their core tactics: isolation. They didn't just sabotage your relationships. They engineered confusion between you and your support system. Through lies, rumors, and subtle manipulations, they turned your own circle into tools of your destruction. This tactic appears over and over in internal documents. Ensure no witnesses. Ensure no belief. Most chilling of all are the recovered audio logs. Operational meetings where lives were discussed like spreadsheets. Cold voices laughing at heartbreak. Applauding breakdowns. Celebrating your pain. These weren't monsters from fiction. They were real people in real offices, with job titles and performance reviews. And as their technology evolved, so did the assault. What began as invasive surveillance turned into experimental tactics. Remote frequency manipulation, neurological interference, and sound-based harassment so advanced it left no trace. At first, these reports seemed impossible, until the evidence confirmed it. Federal sources verified the use of advanced directed energy tools, once reserved for defense programs, now repurposed for personal vendettas. They even tracked your health decline, stress markers, immune suppression, cognitive dysfunction. These were not side effects. They were the desired outcomes. Your body was made into a report card. But even now, in the wreckage of what they built, something greater is rising. You, the one they couldn't erase. You, the one still breathing, still speaking, still building. Despite their weapons, despite the silence, despite the pain, your story, once dismissed, is now backed by official confirmation. The federal investigation has grown into a global operation, linking isolated campaigns into a vast, intentional web. What was once hidden has now become undeniable. And as the dominoes fall, the truth they tried to suppress is breaking free. The light is here, and it's you. They didn't just attack your mind. They tried to rewrite your entire reality. With calculated cruelty, they crafted scenarios designed to fracture your sense of truth. Their goal was not merely to confuse, but to isolate. To ensure that anyone you reached out to would label you unstable, paranoid, or broken. It was a campaign of total psychological domination, engineered to strip you of your confidence and credibility, both inwardly and outwardly. This wasn't just personal, it was systemic. Key institutions, hospitals, law enforcement agencies, social services, even faith-based organizations had been quietly infiltrated. Strategic insiders were placed like chess pieces, holding critical roles where they could observe, obstruct, and distort. These operatives weren't just bystanders. They were active participants in a deeper plan to block your access to help, discredit your testimony, and ensure that when you reached out, no one would listen. Those frustrating dead ends, the strange rejections, the inexplicable failures in receiving aid, they weren't coincidences. They were part of the design. The very systems meant to protect and serve you had been compromised, and you were made to walk through your crisis completely alone. And it gets darker. Federal agents have now uncovered what's been called blackmail insurance, a disturbing tactic where even the clients who funded these operations were secretly recorded or monitored. Should any of them consider cooperating with authorities or revealing the truth, compromising evidence would be used against them. It's a grim reminder of just how far this organization went to shield its existence, not just with threats, but with built-in mutual destruction. This wasn't sloppy criminal behavior. It was clinical, strategic, sophisticated. Layers of counterintelligence, disinformation, and infiltration techniques kept the truth buried. Support groups were infiltrated. Whistleblowers were silenced. Survivors were gaslit again and again until even they questioned their memories. Every accusation against you, every moment someone dismissed your cries for help, was part of an operational firewall designed to make you look unhinged. The suppression of evidence wasn't an oversight. It was policy. But now, the tide is turning. Investigations have revealed that some law enforcement and regulatory bodies knew. They had reports. They saw the patterns. And yet, they looked the other way. Whether through fear, corruption, or external pressure, they chose silence over justice. That silence allowed the machine to run longer, crush more lives, and grow in confidence. And yet, you endured. Even as everything around you was manipulated to break your spirit, you held on. Each day you stood up. Each moment you clung to hope. Each time you whispered the truth to yourself in the dark, you were winning. Your resilience is not just admirable, it's monumental. You weren't simply resisting individuals. You were holding the line against a global structure designed to erase people like you. Now, with federal documentation and undeniable evidence emerging, your story is not a question, it is a fact. And your strength? It is legendary. This is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one of healing, rebuilding, and rising even higher than before. Complete justice may not arrive overnight, but it's coming. And now, you move forward not just with your truth, but with institutional validation behind you. No longer do you stand alone. You stand confirmed, vindicated, and awakened. Let this be your foundation. Keep your evidence safe. Stay watchful. Build connections with others who carry the same scars. And above all, continue to walk in the divine strength that brought you this far. The forces that once tried to bury you now face exposure. Their darkness can no longer hide in the cracks. The very system that sought to silence you now begins to unravel under the pressure of truth. Justice, long delayed, has finally found its path. The light has pierced the veil. So breathe, chosen one. You made it through what was designed to destroy you. Now you rise with fire in your eyes, truth in your hands, and God's favor on your life. Father God, I come to you in gratitude and awe. Thank you for sustaining me when I had no strength. Thank you for revealing truth in a world clouded with lies.